Winchester. The reason this beautiful house on the left-hand side here is made out of timber with infill is because that was the easiest way to build. We're on chalk here, and you can't build out of chalk. Chalk is crumbly and porous, so the water just runs through it. So for ordinary houses, generally what you would do is you would make a timber frame, and it was almost sort of IKEA style. You would slot the bits and bobs together and make it on the ground flat, and then pull it upright and stand it up, and then you've got your timber frame. And that's all very well, but it'd be a bit drafty, wouldn't it, if it was just this timber outline? So you fill in between the timbers with what was called wattle and daub. And wattle is like a network of sticks that would you'd push in, and then the daub is kind of mush, any sort of mush that you could push in with the sticks to create a kind of weather-tight bond. So you'd use horsehair, cow dung, I don't know, probably not cow dung actually, much good with it, horse dung, and anything that could take shape. You mix it up with a bit of water and some chalk and all that sort of stuff, and then you push it in between the gaps and create a sort of a solid wall, and then you whitewash it with lots and lots of paint. Paint's miraculous stuff, holds everything together. And the trick with these sorts of houses was to have a good hat and strong boots. So the good hat would usually have been a thatched roof, because again there weren't tiles in those days. They used the materials that were to hand, which was wheat straw or reed. You use that to make a thatched roof, and then the strong boots would be probably something like a flint foundation, because flint occurs naturally in chalk. Flint's actually that knobbly grey stuff which we've seen all around us in Winchester when we went up to the castle. All the buildings around there were made of flint, and it's actually the bits of a sea creature, little tiny. Right. Let's try and go right, I think. Okay, as we go right around the corner here, immediately on the right hand side we've got this big office block called Paris Smith, and just at the bottom of that you may make out a little memorial. I hope it's not covered by all that hoarding. Should be able to see it. Just on the right hand side there's a little kind of, oh great, lights. You can see a little pointed thing, a brick, and there's a memorial inside it. That is actually to the musicians from the Titanic. And if you've seen the film, I'm sure you know, it was the poor old musicians who were on deck trying to keep everyone's spirits up. Extraordinarily brave of them. They knew perfectly well that the ship was sinking and there was no hope, but they kept playing. So that's a memorial specifically to them. Over on the left-hand side, the other side of the park, is a much grander memorial to the engineers on the Titanic. And straight ahead of us, in the middle of that park, is this whole complex that used to be the City Hall and is now home to the Sea City Museum and the Art Gallery. So there's lots to see there if you fancy going and visiting, with the big clock tower all forming part of it. The Sea City Museum is on this side, and you can see the sort of waves. Thank you very much. There's no need particularly, but the points on the left-hand side, that's where the part of the museum, and you can see the entrance here. It's open until 5 o'clock British time. So as far as you're concerned, that's 6 o'clock. So you should, I think, just about have time if you get in a taxi and come over here. I'm not actually sure whether that is the entrance at the moment. It's saying entrance, but anyway, so this you can come in here. You will have to pay to enter, but it's worth a look. The other thing you can do is just go for a walk along the front, or go into the medieval part of the city. The medieval part, yes, obviously this is still an entrance, people are going in there, so that's a place to go. There's a lot of medieval Southampton still to see. There's a rather lovely church called St Michael's, which we may be able to see in the distance in a minute. And around that area there's the Merchants' Quarter, where the old city walls, you can still, if you can go straight down. Sorry, we're kind of making this up as we go along. Just giving you a bit of a sightseeing tour of Southampton, just to let you know what you can do this afternoon. West Quay, which is the main shopping area, is kind of all around us. This is Marland's shopping centre. I wouldn't recommend this bit. It's just, I mean, you might be able to get a Southampton t-shirt. That's the appealing end of the shopping centre, I'd say. The more appealing end is down where you can see the bridge going across in front of us at the moment. That goes through John Lewis, which is a big department store, and you can get kind of anything you want in there. But all around here, this is all on the left hand, the street which runs through the shopping centre. Ahead of us is medieval Southampton, and it's quite hard to believe in this section that there is a medieval bit. You have to remember Southampton was badly damaged in the war. There was a Southampton Blitz. These arches, they were used as vaults where the medieval merchants stored their goodies. Goodness knows what they're doing. Phil and I are agreeing that it's all changed since we were both. They are constantly changing things. On the right-hand side, there's a really tall spire. We're coming alongside it in a minute, and it is a massive spire. And that's St Michael's Church, which dates back to the 1000s. It is a very, very old church. The spire miraculously survived all the bombings. You can see the church as we go around the corner. The spire survived the bombings because the Luftwaffe used it as a rallying point. When they saw that spire, they knew where they were, so they liked to not bomb it to death because it was a useful navigational aid. The left-hand side here, Dolphin Hotel, this is where Jane Austen came dancing, and just beyond it is a partially ruined church, which is the Holy Rood Church, and this was bombed in the war. It's now kind of a living memorial. It has no roof. When you look inside, you can see burn marks on the walls from the explosions that took place, and there's another memorial in there to the merchant seamen and some of the other people who were involved with the Titanic. So it's a very lovely, very kind of special place, the Holy Rood Church on the left-hand side. This huge anchor, I think, is from the as a memorial. So, you know, if you want to, you can walk up here. It's not a million miles from the ship to get up here and just have a little wander around in this part of Southampton, or get a taxi up here and then walk back if you prefer. All of this is sort of the medieval part, but as you can see, it's lots of it has been damaged and rebuilt. The Customs House, that's right. This was Customs House on the right-hand side here, because of course so many goods were being brought in and out. So this is where they would have weighed and measured and decided what was what. Supposedly King Canute may have had a palace down here at one stage. Straight ahead of us is the pier that takes you, if you want to go out to the Isle of Wight. So you can catch a ferry from here to go across to the Isle of Wight, which is very close to us on the other side. It's a small island. It's only 23 miles by 13 miles. Yeah, you can just pop across there. You haven't got time to do that this afternoon, but yeah, you will certainly see it as you're going out. I mean, you can see it. Yeah, people do live there. It has a population of about 150,000 odd, and it's a lovely place to visit. Queen Victoria used to love the Isle of Wight. She had a house there, Osborne Palace, which you can still go and visit. She didn't like Southampton very much, but it's now a sort of brewery and pub, but it's really well preserved. It was an old wool warehouse, and looking straight into the right there, that's where the sort of oldest part of the city is. The Mayflower Memorial is just on our right down here, where there's a sort of tall column. That's the Mayflower Memorial, commemorating the people who went over there. And you can see these arches along the wall there. That's where the merchants used to keep their goods safe. So all of that medieval Southampton, lots and lots to go and see in the couple of hours that you've got. Everything will start shutting up at about 5 o'clock English time. So you've got about 2 hours, you know, assuming that you want to give yourselves a minute to get a taxi and everything. You've certainly got a couple of hours that you can go into town and do something. But we're now coming back towards your ship. Here's the Norwegian Dawn. waiting for you. Well, where are you going next? Zeebrugge? Okay. Okay, well, I hope you have a nice journey. I hope it's not too windy. Hopefully the wind will help make you go faster. And we'll be dropping you off in just a minute. So I'd just like you to say a big thank you to Phil for taking us on a very nice impromptu tour of Southampton. That wasn't something we were expecting. So that was much appreciated. It's definitely a little bit extra there. We're also coming in a slightly alternative route here, so we're going to see where we end up.